Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Good. How you doing today?
So far, so good. How's the weather out your way?
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, same here. It's a real treat when it's like this. It's not very often.
Yes. Yeah, surprisingly, very few mosquitoes this year.
Yeah, we also no humidity, which is really unusual for Eastern North Carolina.
Yeah.
And it's well into May, so you would think it would be time for the stickies, but so far hadn't been
Yeah,
bad.
usually it's really hot by now.
Yeah, we've had several days, low to mid 70s, no humidity, light wind blowing. I'm originally from upstate New York, grew up on Lake Ontario, and that's the
wow.
way summer was up there when I was a kid.
Nice.
You know, typical summer day that I remember. So it's a real treat for me. I love it.
Dan's from upstate New York too.
Oh wow, where are you from?
Alfred area, Rochester would be about the closest.
Yeah, I know. In there in Alfred University.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's where I went.
yeah. Is that where did you go there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, my cousin did too. Danny Carroll. I don't know if you happen to know that name. Daniel Carroll. I think it's unlikely, but you never know.
Sure. Yeah, they have a really good ceramics university there.
Oh, okay. He's kind of a landscape architect. He does like really nice gardens and walls and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if he learned it there or just what he was interested in. I'm not 100% sure.
Where's he practicing?
He lives in Fulton, New York, which is basically on Lake Ontario. Oswego, Fulton. It's kind of a little 30 miles north of Syracuse, about an hour south of Watertown, middle of nowhere. So he
A lot
actually
of those places up there.
Yeah, he does. He did do it full time for about 20 years, but now he just does it part time. He's got another job where he works. He's kind of I don't know, agronomist kind of guy. So he works with a large school system on their fields and all their kind of stuff, their grass and their tracks and all this kind of stuff. I don't fully understand it, but he's I guess after 20 some years of being an entrepreneur, he felt like he needed something a little different, I guess.
So what brought you down south?
Well, my mother moved us down here when I was 10, actually to Falls Church, Virginia, which is right outside DC. So I kind of from age 10 on grew up around the DC area. And then kind of a long story, but I ended up here in North Carolina because my wife's parents were getting older and they needed help, and we were the really only ones that were situated to do that. So we moved here in 2012 to her her family farm to take care of her mom and dad, basically. And
Wow.
they have since passed on, but I thought I knew what rural was, but I didn't. All I can say.
It's dark out there in the country.
I'm like, not only that, but like I'm the only Yankee, so I keep waiting for them to, come lynch me or something. I don't know. But it's it's an interesting place. It's an old place. It's been in their family since the 1600s, and
Wow.
so it goes way, way back. And there's a lot of that here in Eastern North Carolina. It's a kind of an interesting place in that sense. I growing up in upstate New York, where basically everyone is an immigrant of one kind or another. Here, they're not.
Right.
There really wasn't much of an immigration inbound, which was happening in a lot of other places. That didn't happen here. A bunch of them came in the 1600s, and no one else came after them, basically. Is what it amounts to. So, yeah, her family came from Scotland. Maxwell is their name. And so they have kind of a Scottish background, Scottish and Northern Ireland. And they just came here, and and ever since they've been here, and the family is it's such a large family that, you know, they don't even know half the people, not even sure if they're related or not, just have the same last name at this point. But it's been interesting to me as a New Yorker and a Yankee to kind of see the way it is around here. You know.
Sure.
So, can you guys see this theater seating? Is that, or are you just seeing?
No, it's blank.
Oh, too bad. Okay, well, I'll stop doing it then. There's a view. You have to download the latest version of Zoom, and it basically puts us all in a seat in like a classroom, and you can see everybody. But if you don't have the latest
I
version,
see it. I see it.
you do? Okay, cool.
You're sitting in the middle,
Yeah,
and y'all two are sitting beside him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. Yeah. So it's a little different. Let me try gallery view here. Okay. Now we'll do this. This might be a little bit better. For some reason, I have a problem seeing more than like 3 or 4 people. I don't know what the issue is, if it's my computer or what it is. It doesn't seem to have enough oomph to just, you know, I can hear, like I heard Branson talking, but I didn't see him. Now I see him. Hi, Branson. So before I just heard your disembodied voice over the speaker. So I don't know how this all works, but I think it might be because I keep my screen only half the thing. So that probably has something to do with it. If I made it full screen, I could probably see better. So, okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started here since it's just about 1 o'clock. And today we're going to talk a little bit about storytelling and how to weave the story into what you're doing, what your brand is, what you're all about. So I'm going to go through some examples of marketing campaigns where this is the case. And I think that hopefully you'll find some inspiration as to how you might be able to incorporate storytelling into your brand. So I'm going to share my screen here.
Hey, Dennis, it's Grant.
Yeah.
Can you give me co-host?
Oh yeah, I didn't see you on there, Grant. See, I can't even see what's going on here. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
Let me make you co-host. There you go. And you are now co-host. All right. Hopefully, did that work, Grant?
Yes, sir, it did. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, so I've got just some slides really. So it's kind of a website to go through and talk about this. So Klaviyo, just so you know, is another one of those email programs that we talked about. You know, I've never used it, but I know a lot of people do. They like it. I'm not exactly sure all the ins and outs of it, but they have a really good blog and they tend to talk about stuff that I find interesting. And I thought you might as well. So the idea here is that, and this I would say, if I had to make a point about target market, I would say that younger than me, people, meaning millennials, Generation X, Generation Z, they tend to be very interested in experiences and in kind of the story behind the brand, and particularly whether it's an authentic brand or not. Can everybody see my screen okay? Hopefully. Can you all see my screen okay? Huh.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you can. Okay. I stopped sharing because I was afraid I lost everybody. Okay, here we go again. Okay. All right, there we go. So here's some examples of people who have put together stories, and I'll put this link in the thing in the Slack. But I started to talk about the different groups and different audiences that resonate. You actually have a lot of tools available to you that even a generation ago were not available. unless you had a lot of money and could do commercials and get on TV and maybe radio, maybe both. But now you have the ability to connect with people through your website, through social media, through blogs, different video tools. So you really have the ability to kind of weave a story, if you will, about your brand. And there's lots of different ways to go about it. It could be a story about a particular event, for example, like if you're aiming your product toward a particular, like Mother's Day as an example, or some other, big focal point, Christmas or whatever. Or it could be about yourself. It could be a funny story that you had, how you ended up where you are today and why you're doing what you're doing. We're going to look through at some of these examples here. And hopefully this will help. So this first one is a company called Purely. And the other point I'm going to make is, I believe all of these stories are just regular people in the sense they are not multi-million-dollar venture capital funded companies, which is why I chose this. These are folks who have decided to do something. So with that, Purely is a Hawaiian lifestyle type brand. It's jewelry and lifestyle brand. They happen to be in Germany. They're German, but they love Hawaii. We'll just go through this a little bit here. This is actually pretty good. We'll take a quick look at this, their birthday video.
My toes touch the same floor. Our world has been shaken on.
Ich weiß noch ganz genau, als ich das erste Mal 2012 auf Hawaii war ich so unglaublich beeindruckt von dieser wahnsinnigen Energie, die dort herrscht. Ich durfte das so an noch keinem anderen Ort der Welt, den ich bis dahin bereist hatte, kennenlernen und war unglaublich beeindruckt, welche Lebensfreude ich auch selbst dort leben konnte. Es war mir so in Deutschland.
Okay, I think you get the point. It's mostly stock footage of Hawaii, and I don't know German, but they're telling some kind of story. So that's kind of cool. This here is some of their social media posting and stuff here, and the key point here, I guess, is they really stay in character through all their communication, right? Aloha, this whole idea of jewelry in a Hawaiian kind of venue. This video is the one we just looked at. So you get a sense of how they are continuing that message through everything that they do. And if you go on their website, you'll see the same sort of thing where they'll constantly connect to Hawaii. And I don't know how many of you have spent a lot of time in Germany, but in general, Germany is quite cloudy and gray, like a lot of Europe. And so this makes a lot of sense to me that, if I'm got a bunch of German people, I would definitely be aspirational to get to where the sun is shining, where Hawaii might be. So that's just a simple idea here. Lots of times you'll also see this kind of thing with things that say Australia, right? There'll be an Australian kind of look or feel to a product or a service, and it'll run through everything they do, even though they may not even be close to Hawaiian in actuality. So let's see here. Okay. So here's a company called Bombinate. Bombinate is it's basically a bunch of small artisanal brands and products. And so this is their website. So they actually work with a number of makers, if you will, over time. And what they do is kind of interesting. They really keep that theme, shop by your values, assuming your values are artisan, handmade type of thing. And these guys sell all over the world. They explain their story, how they have 4 pillars. Marketing professors love things like 4 pillars, right? You have 3 pillars, 2 pillars, 1 pillar, no pillars. But the idea that you're able to, kind of tell people why you're doing what you're doing and kind of what the basis of it is. Let's see here, admit all, okay. So that's really the point of what they're saying here. It's made to last a long time, so it's high quality, it's handmade, it has the people who made it, and it gives some of the reasons of why people make it. And here's some different products from different aspects, even though from my perspective, they're pretty wide ranging, from a rug to a comb. They all have this kind of look and feel that is the same or similar, a branded look and feel. And here they're showing where their brands come from. In this case, it's focused on Europe. You can see it's pretty widely ranging around Europe. And then what they do is they actually create collections. And this is something that if you're using Shopify, for example, this is a strength of the Shopify platform, this idea of collections. You can have different groupings of products. They're almost like a little mini website on their own, where they're collected, and when you click on it, you're within that collection. You're not all over the website. It's kind of like an organized place for all your stuff. But one of the things that I think really stand out about this to me is the quality of the photography. I don't know how much time you all spend on that subject about photography, but it's a big deal. Photography, the two things that I've heard a lot of people who I respect say that really makes a difference in e-commerce. 1 is photography and 2 is reviews. Those 2 things are, if you were to magically sell your company for $10 million to some investor, and they wanted to ramp your brand up, that's the first 2 things that they would look at: the quality of the photography and the customer reviews, because Amazon has proven that people love reviews, especially if it's a brand they don't know. They'll read those reviews to help them make a decision about what they're going to buy. And then here, I think you would agree that these pictures kind of set a tone. They have a look and feel. It's consistent. It's kind of, I would argue, kind of soft and indirect. Like this picture of the rug. It's hardly showing the rug at all. It's showing the big plant more than the rug. But a lot of that has to do with their belief and how they want to promote their products. This is another example of a collection here where it says Mediterranean Living, Summer Tone. This is a group of products that they have put together in kind of a showcase to put it all in one place. So you're not necessarily looking all over the store for stuff. This might be inspirational for you. You may get some ideas from it. There may be other things that you're doing. They also have a place where they feature a particular brand. This guy kind of looked like Eric Burden of the Animals back in the 60s. I don't know, maybe it's his son or something, but this guy has some story that they want to share this brand with. So, I think this is a good website if you need inspiration for look and feel and photography and kind of creating a feel. I think they do a really good job. The other thing that they claim, and I don't know if any of you have had this experience, but when you're online, people tend to organize themselves. I'm going to call them tribes or groups or consumers that have similar interests. And so when you spend the time to make your website have a certain look and feel and a certain attitude, a lot of people feel like customers will find that. They'll find that because they're in touch with it. And I don't know how magical it is, but it is something to think about that, if somebody clicks on your page, they immediately are hooked, whether it's the photography or what it is that you're selling. But I think there's a lot to that, actually. This part here, what they do is kind of cool. They have that same look and feel, but then they get into stories. So in this case, this is a brand they have called Santa Living, and they talk about the two of them that are behind this and their story, and that might be an example of something you could do for your products. Particularly if you're in agriculture or value-added food, you might be able to weave a story about what you're doing. So I kind of like that. And there's another group there, another brand. So this one is a little bit different. This is a African inspired fashion brand called Grassfields. Some of you may be familiar with it. They don't use words at all. They just use music and video in a lot of their stuff. And I'm not going to go into all of it. I'll just pick this one here and we can take a look. And so I would argue that their example is very powerful and says a lot without a single word being spoken in that example there. But I think you get a sense of who they are, what they're doing, how they do it. And if you are working with someone to produce your product or manufacturer, maybe you have the opportunity to do a video similar to this, just to kind of show the origin story of what it is that you have and what you're doing. So let's see. We talked a little bit about this the other day, and this is where this company, Klaviyo, is going to get in a little bit of a campaign thing. Let's see how we do it here. So email drip campaigns versus nurture campaigns. I'm not going to read you all this, but basically, these are different techniques to continue communicating with customers or prospects on a variety of bases. One might be moving them along a customer journey. Another might be an educational process where you're educating them about something. But email used, and the tools we looked at the other day, MailChimp, Klaviyo, they all have this capability pretty much, this ability to do a drip campaign. And the other key is it's an automated process. So if you have hundreds of people on your list or thousands of people, it isn't so hard to do with the automated tools. So let me go back here. So I don't know if you all are familiar with Chubbies or not. This is a brand that basically makes swimwear, and what they're known for is a really funny sense of humor. And when they go out there, they have these stories like this guy's talking about being bit by spiders or whatever. It's just kind of a wacky way to tell your story with a little bit of cheekiness, I guess, if that's the right word. And then notice they've got their commercial ask is in the middle of the story in this case here. So they've, again, as we talked about before, this kind of look and feel that identifies them. These guys seem to have that same sort of approach, and they're they're just selling casual shorts as far as I know. So it's kind of cool. So this is another company. I don't know if you all have noticed, and if you're not a person who has a beard, you may not pay any attention at all, but there's been a lot of activity with beard related stuff lately. Quendel's raised his hand. Yeah. I just can't get over. I mean, there's so many. I don't have a beard, but I just noticed that there's just all these products and people and websites. And so this guy actually, if I remember right, I think he may have either sold or bought, something happened as a result of his success, but he created this whole thing, beard brand, using his, I'm sorry. Went the wrong way. Sorry about that. Where he started off by telling a video about problems he and his wife were having. So he brought you into his life and what he was doing. And then he talked about why he's doing all this. And here you see this word, automated welcome emails. That's the same thing as a drip or a nurture. That's where, there's some sort of process that get people hooked into you. And so, again, bad beard days suck, whatever. I'm sure they do. And there he is. And, if you think about the amount of money spent on this, the answer is zero, right? He's got this guy with a tripod in front of him, doesn't even have a background. It's just black, right? He's just sitting there looking at you, and he's going to tell you some story about his beard or whatever, of his hard times in life. And that's basically what he does all the time. Is I guess he has a cool beard. I guess he wants to show it off. I don't know, but this whole thing just keeps on going, and it's very personal. It's with love from Texas and Washington. I just really like that connection and that connectivity. And I don't even have a beard, so what can I say? Okay. So this one here is a company that is really behind the LGBTQ community. That's kind of what they're all about. That's what they want to boost and support. So that's a core brand story, right? That's a reason why they're doing what they're doing. And they're called Skinny Dip London. And so here they say back in 2017, they launched a campaign called #HateSucks. So hashtags, if you're not familiar with them, hashtags are a way to connect keywords across platforms. So if you create a campaign, for example, let's use hate sucks just to make it simple, and you put that hashtag on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, yada, 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 it will connect anybody who wants to learn about the Hate Sucks campaign. All they have to do is put in a search is that hashtag, and it will find all of the content where that hashtag appears. So hashtags can be very, very powerful. You can create content over lots of places, and then you can connect them with hashtags. And that doesn't mean it has to be a link. It can just be a hashtag. And if you're careful about it and you do enough, you will own that space, right? So coming up with a hashtag that's unique for you and your brand story and what you care about, and is funny enough that someone can remember, or serious enough, or whatever. Hashtags really are a unifying character. It's a way to connect disparate efforts, disparate campaigns, disparate channels of marketing. It's a way to pull them all together in a simple way. So I really like that. You don't see it as much as you used to. Hashtags seemed to be really popular about 5 years ago. They're still popular. Mostly I see it in politics and things like that, as opposed to brands, but it does work. And so here's an example. Their website, Hate Sucks, they're announcing it. And that if you put Hate Sucks in Google, you're probably going to see all of their creative that they created across all the different channels, even if you're not in those channels. Okay, this one is kind of cool. So I don't know if we've talked about brand voice, but it kind of is in keeping with creating this story, this brand story. Your brand voice might be funny, might be serious, might be, like Andy Griffith or what, it can literally be anything, but it has to be consistent. And so in this case, this is a company that decided to freak you out and say, "Hi, I'm the hacker who gained access to your email account." And it just goes through this whole thing. It's not a hacker. It's just them sending out an email. But they said that almost everybody opened this email and read it because they thought they'd been hacked, and so that's kind of ingenious. I think it's a little dangerous to do that. They might really get upset at you. But it is, that kind of thing is a good idea. I think ways to kind of punk somebody to get them to open up the email or communicate with you, I think is kind of cool. So anyway, the idea behind all of this is really about creating your brand story, creating your brand voice, and more importantly, using it all the time, right? Using it across everything that you're doing. Because remember in our earlier video with that crazy guy with the ponytail that was talking so fast, he said somebody has to hear something 28 times before they remember it. If you're old like me, it's more like 38 times or 48 times. But the point is, you'll get bored and you'll want to change it. And if you remember what he said in his video, Coca-Cola has never changed their message since 1903, and Pepsi changes it every other year. And who registers? Coke registers, Pepsi doesn't, as one example. So this is on all of you. This does not take money. It just takes a little bit of time. Think about how you want to express yourself, in these ways, these brand ways. And it doesn't have to be you. This is not you. This is your brand story. And I want to highlight that's a pretty big difference. It can even be a secret brand, right? Like something that's completely opposite your personality. Maybe, that would be really a funny way to go. Something that's just the antithesis of everything that you are. That will be your brand. Maybe it'll make you laugh. I don't know. So anyway, so I've got another one I want to show you. First of all, any questions or thoughts on this aspect?
I shared a link in the chat
Oh, okay.
because I was looking.
Okay, go ahead.
I was looking into trying to understand photography, but I didn't want to spend any money. So I was looking up a lot of different ways to use your cell phone. And there are a ton of tutorials. And the one that I shared was a really interesting and easy stop motion tutorial that a lot of people might like.
Yeah. One of the greatest places for that kind of stuff is the Shopify blog. Shopify as a company puts an enormous amount of effort into content creation, and they have, just tons of stuff on photographs for your. I think they even sell a camera called Shopify camera or something for taking their. I guess you can. It works with your iPhone or your Android. I don't really know, but Shopify has a lot of good stuff on product photography, how to use those light boxes and how to use different backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. So I highly recommend that. I post a lot of that stuff on our social media. So I have quite a few little how-to things on there, but a lot of them will come from the Shopify blog. Highly recommended. Because what I like about that is it's oriented toward using it on your site, right? It's one thing to be a photographer, just to be a photographer. It's a whole nother thing to actually be making it something specifically for your site. So I really like that aspect of it. Thanks a lot for posting that. That's great. Grant, if you could copy those postings so we can put it on the Slack. I'm not sure we can reach the chat after we finish the session. I'm not 100% sure.
Yes, sir, I can do that.
Okay. So this is a company in Chapel Hill that I've been doing some work with. And it's called Cottage Lane Kitchen. And what I like about it is it's a real effort to tell their story. And their story is an interesting story from my way of thinking. This 4 generations making relish in the exact same kitchen in Chapel Hill. I find that hard to believe, but it's true. So they tell the story, and they basically make hot sauce and relish and stuff like this, and sell it in grocery stores and online. But this panel right here, Cottage Lane, is a real place in North Carolina, and they have their own garden where they get all this stuff, all the peppers and all that kind of stuff they grow themselves, and then they cook it in apple cider vinegar, which I know, living here in the South, I know that apple cider vinegar is something that's not to be trifled with. It's a very important thing, apparently. So, but these guys do a pretty good job. They got a funny little tagline: relish every day. Their logo is very simple. It's a text logo. It's not color. And the advantage of that is you can use it in lots of different places without spending a lot of money to have 4-color printing. And you can make it, that could be black on a white background. It's really easy to work with. The testimonials to me are very similar to reviews, if you will. They feature those high. They won an award in the Good Foods Award. I think also their packaging is pretty clean and easy to see. They emphasize the idea of spicy pepper relish. That's kind of the space they're trying to own. And then the different types they have are in smaller underneath. So I don't know. I just think they do a pretty good job. They also post on, this is their Instagram feed. So they have their Instagram feed on their homepage, which you can do pretty easily. And they use that in a lot of different ways. It looks like they use it to show what farmers market they're going or where locations they are. It looks like they communicate with their audience, through Instagram. And of course they have their email list, the sign up list here as well. So I like these guys. I think they do a really good job of telling their story. If you go to the About Us, it goes into more detail, with the generations and pictures of their little house that still stands, or a version of it, I guess. So they tell the whole story about them. So I personally think it's interesting. I truly don't know how much it has to do with the success of the brand. I think pricing is important. I think understanding that somebody wants the product, that there's a need for it. But I think if you do have an interesting story and you want to share that, this is not a bad idea. It does add a lot of personality and a little bit of connection for those. It's a really hard judgment call for me to say how critical that is to success. But in this case, I think they do a pretty good job of telling their brand story and differentiating themselves from other pepper relish. Now, I honestly can say I'm not sure I even knew there was such a thing as pepper relish. But these products are pretty good pictures. I think it's pretty clear. You can see them. I'm not crazy about the white background that much. There's not much depth in it. I'm not overly crazy about the pictures, but they are crystal clear, and you can see, what it is. I think pretty readily. So they're clear, and I'll give them that. But I'm not sure I like the white. Looks a little cheap to me. I don't know. I think maybe if it was a little more dimensional, like shot in a photo box of some kind, might look a little bit better. What do you guys think? What does that strike you as kind of cheesy, or does it look good to you?
I think if it had a depth of field or they had some other products in the background, it would make the picture pop out more with the white background. It just looks like a generic picture that they did with Photoshop.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. They seem to be real, high on this black background of the website. I don't know. Maybe somebody did a study and said that works better. I don't see a lot of dark black background websites personally. It's not something I think maybe if I was selling caskets or something, I might go for that. I don't know. It seemed a little much, but
The dark mode is getting more popular. That might be why they're doing it.
okay. Yeah, it could be. It's really hard to work with, like one of the things that drives me crazy, every once in a while, I want to print something. And if the website's black, it takes up my whole ink supply printing, 2 pages, and I need to replace my ink cartridge. That really pisses me off personally. But that's just me, what can I say? But other than that, I don't know. I think it's pretty clean. I think the logo's good. I think the tagline's good. I think the story's pretty good.
If you click into one of those, does it have a different presentation?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, not really.
Just the same thing.
Like here's an older, this is what you were talking about. This looks a little better. It's a little bit of depth of field, a little bit. I guess there's pineapples in there and stuff. This is some of the ingredients that are in this particular. I think it's citrus and pineapple, habanero, citrus and pineapple. So that makes sense. They got the ingredients on the back. I think that looks a little better than just the white picture myself. They have another one here.
If they're
Dennis, you
selling-
think that they're trying to give an old-fashioned or vintage look about their background,
Yeah, it could be.
the black and white being
It
kind
could
of
be.
old-fashioned? That's what I see. Looking-
Yeah.
Carry the theme through from the front to the back. And honestly, we see a lot where the front end theme, it can be different from your storefront. Because
Yeah.
with food, I would recommend a lighter color.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of people will have a link called store, right? And you click on the store and that's kind of a different experience than the rest of the website. That seems to be really common. But much as I don't like it, you can really see very clearly. It's very clear picture. So I think that's good. That's and you can zoom in on it. I kind of like that. Nutrition facts, So I don't know. I guess that's what it looks like when we pour it out of the bottle. I don't know. Either
Should've
that
left
or
that one off.
I won't go there. Never mind. I won't go there.
Make it
The
improve.
full product life cycle there, I think, I think is what they're going for. I'm not sure. Okay, well, that's what I have today for us. I'll post some other links in the Slack about some other story websites, I guess the best way to put it. But do you see any reason why you can't do something like this for yourself? Do you see anything that's stopping you from exploring this idea? Anybody?
One thing people can use, I don't know if someone's mentioned it in a prior session, because I'm sorry, I have missed a few, but they can use Fiverr to edit their photographs to give it a little more depth, add some filters.
Okay, you're talking about the where you pay someone to the consulting, you bid on it and they come in.
No, Fiverr is it's a way to outsource a lot of work, so you don't have to take on everything yourself.
Right.
And so anywhere from $5 to up to a couple hundred,
Yeah.
you can hire someone to edit your photographs for you to give them a little bit more professionalism
Right.
without you having to buy software or learn how to be a Photoshop expert, because it's a lot of extra work when you can pay someone $10, $15, $20
Right.
to just edit the photos for you.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in Fiverr. I like it. I've used it a lot over the years. They can do logo design.
Right.
They can do a lot of stuff. So
I would recommend if you plan to use Fiverr, always ask for the source files, because they have a habit of sending you the finished JPEG, PDF, SVG, etc., and they retain the source file so that you're forced to come back to them for every single edit. At
Good.
some point, the Fiverr people are not going to be able to accomplish what you need. So whatever the source is, whether it's CorelDRAW, Adobe Illustrator, Canva, whatever the source file is, always ask for your sources. And if you don't get the source file, don't complete the project and give them a bad review.
Yeah, that's good. Good tips there. I like that. You
Um,
could go ahead. Go ahead.
I do a lot of photo editing. Me and my team, we do digital media content. So we do everything from filming to putting on major concerts to I've helped build websites and even went in to do pictures and photos just to help clients help build their stuff. So that's another avenue with me being here in the Eastern Carolina that y'all can reach out to me, and I'm reasonably priced to do it, to come in. And I've worked with everything from urban artists to country artists. So I've done
Fantastic.
the whole spectrum of all types of pictures and photos and music and content.
Cool. Make sure you post that in the Slack channel so everybody can access it. That's wonderful.
I will.
That's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, Fiverr is, and there are other platforms like this. I'm very familiar with Fiverr myself, so it's just something I've used a lot. But there are a number of competitors out there also, and I thought that's really good advice to make sure you get the source file, at least for graphics. I think that's critical. As you move on, but it is true. You don't have to do everything yourself necessarily. Even some of the technical stuff, there are ways to get it done. All right. Well, that's all I got for today. Tomorrow, it's going to be kind of a free for all. I'm going to be asking you all questions specifically about your project, and you can ask me questions back. I want to find out, what big issues you're facing with your websites or your business, and I want to talk about that. And hopefully, it'll be a good exchange for everybody. We can really surface some issues if there are any. There may not be any. It'll be a short session. That's okay. Wednesday, we're going to have this guy Dan Rierick, who is the CEO of Code the Dream. Code the Dream is the nonprofit web development company that I told you all about that we're connected with through our grant. Just an awesome company. Their major job is they take really underprivileged people, I guess, but especially young people, and train them how to be developers and programmers and get them jobs all over the country. And they've done a phenomenal job. They're backed by Google and Microsoft and others. But they've just, it's an incredible story of what they've done, and they're nonprofit, and it's a good resource for you to know about them, I think. And then on Thursday, we're going to talk about how to partner with other websites or other companies non-competitively to build your reach and to make a little bit more of an outreach without spending any money. So that's what we got going this week. Any questions, thoughts at this point? All right. Well, thank you all very much for coming, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.